Hello, I'm Christine, and I'm going to guide you through a yoga practice today. I'm calling this practice, come practice with me. Very original, right? So this is just based off of what I would do in my own home practice, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'll just explain to you what the practice will be about today. So I started to do some interval training workouts to supplement my cardio, and I'm finding with repetitive motion of burpees that, believe it or not, my right wrist is aching and not feeling so great. And I'm feeling rather tight from a lot of squats in my low back and in my hamstrings too. So my practice today, I'm just going to move through what feels good in my body, and hopefully as you do this practice you will find the courage to explore your own practice and your own home practice in what you're feeling in your body. So I'm going to navigate us through this this practice of asana that I'm doing for me. That's why it's called Come Practice My Practice. And I'm going to kind of narrate how I'm exploring this practice of what I need, okay? And maybe you'll find this to be a useful practice just in your own body as well. So we'll start in a nice seated position, and go ahead and bring your buttocks away from your sits bones. I like to sit up on a couple blankets so that my knees are in line with my hips or slightly lower. And this is my moment of just grounding myself in my practice for the day. So I like to take this opportunity to just explore my breath. So I feel inhalation and exhalation as I breathe. I become aware of the pace of my breath and the depth without judging. And then as I explore my breath, I begin to deepen my breath. And today I feel like I really need to deepen my breath in my low back. So I begin with exploring deep inhalation and exhalation, really filling up the back of my body today. So I'm going to take 2 more deep, long, slow breaths into my low back. Moving all the way up into my upper chest and nostrils. And in that deep breathing practice, I connected with, I can actually feel relief already from my moving into my low back, believe it or not, just from my breath. But I also found through those deep breaths that I'm experiencing some tightness in my face and my cheeks. So I'm going to take my fingers, the finger pads, and just returning to my normal breath, I'm going to massage these cheekbones and into my temples, because I felt some tightness and tension, discomfort, all in this space. So you can rub gently into wherever you might feel some tension. So maybe for you it's in your head, your neck. You can just do some massaging of those spaces here with your un-breath. And I'm just going to really move in circles around my cheekbones, my eyebrows, my forehead. And then maybe even cross the fingers and do like this figure 8. So I'm doing a figure 8 now around my eyes and into my cheeks. And then I'll stop. I did it once each way. I'll stop at the bridge of my nose and then just kind of begin to move down and away from my eyes, moving toward the corner of my eyes, and then feel it where it's really, I'm holding some tightness and discomfort. So as I explore and think about, that's interesting, like why am I feeling this? Perhaps I'm clenching at night, which I tend to do. So now I'm going along my jawline. You can go along your jawline. This actually feels so super yummy, quite frankly. And so this brings to light that because I just do know a little bit more about my practice, and maybe you know this too. Hopefully you do know this, that if you're feeling tension and tightness maybe in your face, perhaps it's sinus related. So quick observation, yesterday was beautifully and sunny, today is rainy. So that messes with that barometric pressure, messes with sometimes your sinuses. So maybe that's where it's coming from. So I think today what I'll do as well to help my tight hamstrings is to I'm going to release the fingers now, just to bring some asana into folding forward, so that we get that blood rushing to that space, and then lifting and getting things moving, if you will. So that massage felt really super yummy, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna take a nice deep inhalation here. I'll take my right hand, bring my right hand to my left ear, and on my exhalation, I'm not going to like harshly grab and grip my ear here. I'm just using my hand to guide my right ear toward my right shoulder. And the tendency here is to pull that shoulder up into the ear, and just really going to focus on taking my shoulders away from my ears, keeping my belly button tucked nice and tight, so I have some stability and strength there in my posture. Wow, really super tight neck muscles here I'm feeling. And then I'll inhale, I'll release the hand, let it go. Take a nice deep inhalation here. I'll just, again, engage in my strong posture. And on my inhalation, I will also take my left hand to my right ear and then use that hand to just help open, so lift maybe, and then help position the left ear to the left shoulder. Again, I'll take my shoulders away from my ears, my navel toward my spine. Nice deep exhalation here. And you can always breathe out of your mouth if you're feeling super stress and tension. Sometimes that breathing out of the mouth feels just really relieving. All right, we'll release the left arm. Feel the need to do some shoulder circles here. So I'll draw the shoulders up toward the ears, back and down and forward. And then I'll inhale, bring the shoulders up and back. Exhale, round my back. So now I'm incorporating my thoracic vertebrae here by rounding the back and then pulling through and arching the back, but using the shoulders too to really create some movement. And now I'll move the other way. Exhale as I round forward, bring the shoulders forward and back and around. So work with your breath here, just feeling the shoulders. As you exhale, trying to draw the navel toward the spine, chin toward the chest. Oh, feels super yummy today, not gonna lie. Okay, and then for my particular body today, I'm gonna inhale, take my right hand to the right side of my hip, and I'm going to bring my left arm up overhead alongside my ear. First, I'm gonna reach forward here, bending my right elbow into my right side body. I wanna reach forward, palm facing me. I'm going to relax the knees. I'm going to take a couple breaths here. I'm feeling that nice lengthening along the left side body. And then I'm going to inhale and open my chest up. Press strongly into my blanket pile with my left sits bone. And just reach, bending really nicely into my right elbow, creating as much length as I can on the left side body. Inhale, come up, take your left hand to the mat. Draw the right arm now more across the face here, so different muscles we're lengthening. The exhalation, I will dip my left elbow into my left side and I reach forward. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, trying not to really crunch the neck muscles here. Couple breaths here. And you know, with your body, there's just difference from side to side. You would think, then go ahead and take the right arm up and open the chest toward the front of the body. Relax the knees and now really reach your left elbow into your left side body. Reach your right arm overhead. You would think with burpees that both of my wrists would be hurting, right? But it's obviously I must have just put more emphasis on that right side because my right wrist is the thing that's giving me the problem. So there's not really ever balance in the body. We try to strive for balance in the body, but you know, we just strive and we get as close as we can to being completely balanced. Let's go ahead and take an open fist toward the ceiling up above, and then I like to wiggle my rib cage up toward the ceiling, draw the navel toward the spine, pull the shoulders back, and then drop the shoulders away from the ears. So it's as if you're drilling your sits bones into the mat below, and you're lifting your crown of the head toward the ceiling, breathing here. Close your eyes if you'd like. Exhale, release the hands, release the arms down. Now take your fist into the uncomfortable fist, right? Press that fist away. Inhale, bring the arms up. And if you feel like, gosh, that's the same, fist I just had, go ahead and switch it, That's our little brain teaser. Once again, wiggle your rib cage up toward the ceiling. Exhale, shoulders away from the ears. Keep the chin moving toward the chest slightly. Pull the navel toward the spine. Couple breaths here. And then exhale, release the hands down. We'll bring the knees toward each other. Go ahead and switch which leg you had in front. And we're just going to take some gentle movement. We're going to move more fluidly with the breath now, with some of the same things we just did. So we'll take a nice deep inhalation, draw the right arm across the face on our exhalation. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, reach toward the left side body. Inhale, come up. Exhale, draw your left arm in front of the face. Inhale, come up. Lengthen into the entire left side body by reaching toward the right. Inhale, come up. Hands face each other. Make a fist the uncomfortable way. Reach, reach, reach the fist up. On your inhalation, exhale, shoulders away from the ears. Inhale here. Exhale, release the hands down. Inhale, make that comfortable fist. Press the fist out. Exhale, shoulders away from the ears. Inhale here. Exhale, release the hands down. Bring the knees together. Okay, so I'm going to come off of my blanket pile for now. I like to put it to the side. So, in this home practice, sometimes I I'm wearing my pajamas. There's like a hot day here or there that I was just like in my underwear and a t-shirt. So what you see is what you get with this come practice with me today practice in my practice, but I won't be in my underwear for these practices, but as you can see, I'm not wearing typical yogi attire right now because I'm just wearing what I'm wearing to get my practice in. Okay, since I'm having wrist problems, right, I'm not going to want to do a lot of this tons of weight on my hands. I'm going to save it for the big guns that I really want to practice. So I'm just going to briefly be here. The knees are nice and wide, the toes are pulled together, reach the hands forward a bit, and then I'm going to press into my child's pose. Okay, before I go all the way back into my child's pose, students know that, who practice with me, that I like to always kind of like wiggle into this first child's pose. So I reach my rib cage from side to side as I'm pressing away from my hands. And then I come into my child's pose. Take a couple more deep breaths here. As you're in your child's pose, really try to press into your hands like you're in down dog so that you're feeling this nice stretch in the back. For me, I told you I'm having some low back discomfort, so this helps with that, lengthening through the spine. And now I'm going to pull my knees toward each other on my inhalation, coming up, and I'm just going to reach my hips from side to side just because that feels good to me. So I'm taking my right shoulder to my right hip and making a C, and then I'm making a backward C on the left side, right? So just feeling the hips today. And then you can do some hip circles, maybe incorporate the shoulders, or maybe not. And then when I feel like I've got some super yummy mobility, I tuck my toes and I press into my downward facing dog. Okay. And this is why a lot of people don't wear loose clothing in yoga class on top, because your mouth tends to go right inside the hole of the t-shirt, the neck of the t-shirt, right, or sweatshirt in this case. Okay, so my down dog is feeling a bit tight today. And I told you I was having some tightness in my hamstring, so of course I'm going to feel tight in this down dog. So what I like to do to help me stretch out my calves and my hamstring one at a time is do my down dog one leg at a time. So I lift my heel. Most of you know this is walking the dog, so I'm like not even walking my dog. I'm like, I'm making my dog walk and then stop. So my dog is stopped in this one-legged walk. And then I go ahead and move to the other side, press away from my hands, strongly bend my left knee as my right heel. I'm trying to move my hip up and back toward the space behind me. You feel that lengthening, and now I'll come into my down dog. Couple deep breaths here. My navel moves into my spine. And my exhalation, I'll come up on my toes. I will walk my feet toward my hands. And now this is the point where I'm getting a little warmed up here, so I can take this sweatshirt off for now. Make sure I don't have a wardrobe malfunction for the video, right? And I'm just going to come into this bent knee forward fold. A lot of us call this ragdoll. Before I come into it, again, just like I was reaching my rib cage up toward the ceiling when we were seated, I kind of like to pull my rib cage out of my waist forward so I can feel like I'm creating more space and length in my spine. And then I'll come up, pressing the hands onto the thighs, not into the knees, but onto the thighs and away from my waist. I bring my shoulder blades together, reach the breastbone forward, navel moves into the spine, and then when I exhale, I drape my chest, which is now lengthened, right? My whole torso was kind of lengthened by moving my rib cage, and then I come into this ragdoll. And this is where I take a couple breaths to check in and say, okay, where, I know I'm tight, am I still feeling it? And the answer is yes. Christine, you are still feeling it. Okay, so today I might grab my blocks to help me. If you've come to my class before, you know I love props. I have no shame in using props. I'll take a nice deep inhalation. I'm going to draw my breastbone forward, move my tailbone back as I pull my breastbone forward. I relax through my neck, and on my exhalation, I begin to press strongly into my feet, extending my legs, and allow my chest to move toward my thighs. And I breathe here a few breaths. My eyes are closed because I personally like to have my eyes closed to help me feel what I'm feeling, really identify it and articulate it in my body. Okay? So in this particular Uttanasana forward fold, I will shift my weight from side to side, and from the ball of my foot to my ankle. Not huge movements, it's just kind of like this tiny swaying. And this allows me to feel where I'm feeling the tightness. Okay, so I know I have tight hamstrings, but I'm able, just by those tiny movements, to articulate that I feel more in the right posterior and outer side, lateral hip area. Okay, so it's the hamstrings are tight, but I'm feeling more tightness in the right today, which is interesting because most of my tightness usually comes from the left side on any given day. I can feel some tightness in my calves as I press my feet into the mat. So it's this exploration. So as I gain this information, and I definitely feel it in my low back. So as I gain information, I say, okay, let's go to work. So I take an inhalation, bend my knees, scoop my arms up. Standing, ooh, where else am I feeling it? And I exhale, coming into Tadasana. I pause in Tadasana. I'm not going to just flow right through Tadasana today because, again, this is an exploration of what do I need in my practice today. So I'm pressing my feet strongly into the surface below. I'm trying to flatten that space of my lower abdominals to draw the rib cage toward each other, if you will. Pull my shoulder blades on my back and away from my ears and lift through the crown of my head. And I'm breathing here in this strong mountain pose. I'm working. My legs are working. My feet are working. My belly's working. Okay, and once again, I can articulate just by this movement of where I'm feeling. And I'm feeling now my inner thighs, some tightness on the right inner thigh just in this movement. So now I'm going to, now that I've gathered all this data, this is cool, right? You're gathering data of what you need today. I'm gathering this data, I'm ready to move through movement that's going to help me in all those spaces that I'm feeling. Inhale the arms up, exhale, bent knees. Again, I'm going to start with my bent knees. When I come down to Uttanasana, inhale, reach the chest up. Exhale, press into the feet, into straight legs. Forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest. I'm going to exhale my left leg back and down and come into this low lunge. Inhaling here. Today I'm going to use my hands to press my thigh forward and to dip into my front left hip. So I'm swooping the front of my left hip forward and down. I'm going to take a couple deep breaths here. My shoulders will move onto the back. I'm lifting through the crown of my head. I'm exhaling, framing the front foot. Inhale, coming back to this half plank. Exhale, I'm going to work through some hip circles again, because remember I said I had that outer right hip that I was feeling some tension and discomfort. So I'm strongly engaging my navel in toward my spine as I work through my hips again. And to help my wrists, I'm really trying to focus on placing the weight of my body on my finger pads and my fingers and not just that space under the wrist. Okay, side to side here, like windshield wiper, but with the hips. Oh, I can't even begin to tell you how freeing this is, how lovely. I can feel that outer hip just warming up and feeling super yummy. I'll take an inhalation here. On my exhalation, I'll draw my left leg forward, my right front hip down as I inhale and come up. Exhale, pressing into my left thigh as if I'm pressing away, if you will. Shoulders on the back, away from the ears. Inhaling and exhaling. I'm going to actually take, because I know that this is the side that I was feeling I need more opening in the hip, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths here. Drawing the right front hip forward. So why am I taking 3 as opposed to a couple? Well, it's because I know that this side needs a little extra care. So I'm working both sides, but I'm giving the side that needs more attention just a slight bit more attention. I'm going to exhale, frame that front foot. Inhale, come to my half plank. And because today I do want to just take it a little more easier than I would than a vinyasa flow, I will shift my body, my chest between my hands, and on my exhalation, really focusing on bending the elbows back, pulling the chest down through the hands, and coming all the way down. Okay? Untuck the toes. I'm going to have my hands on my fingertips today because of my wrist, just because I want some relief. Pull the elbows away from the hands and toward each other onto the back. Move the tops of the shoulders away from the ears. I'll pull my navel into my spine as I come up into this back bend, this cobra. And why would I want to do that? Exhale, I'm coming down. Now, I'm going to make a little pillow with my hands and place my forehead on the pillow. I'm going to relax completely and give my low back a little bit of a massage. And I breathe into the entire width of the low back. Nice deep breaths. Then I'll draw my thumbs along my brow line once again. Pull the elbows back, shoulders away from the ears. I'm going to come into my cobra once again on my fingertips. Breathing here, my navel is moving tightly in toward my spine. Exhale, coming down. I'll take my other hand on top this time. 3 deep breaths into the low, low, low back, the entire width. All right. Taking my hands back to my brow line. This time my hands are flat. I'm going to tuck the toes, elbows together, pressing into the fingertips and the pads, coming up onto my knees and then into my down dog. And now that I'm warmed up a bit, I can feel like I feel more length in my hamstrings. I'm feeling some relief in my low back, believe it or not. Keeping that navel tucked tightly in really helps, working the abdominal muscles to help support the back muscles. I'm going to stay here for 3 deep breaths. What am I working on? And when I do this, I really am working on pressing away from my hands so that my shoulders move away from my ears. I take a breath to really try and use the strength of my legs to press my hips up toward the ceiling and back toward the space behind me. Just really working this pose. And I try to really soften my neck because sometimes I'll hold my tension there when I'm doing this pose. Inhale, I'm going to take the right leg up and back. Open, open, open the hip by bending the right knee. Keep working in my down dog. Exhale, I draw that right leg up. And actually today, because I'm feeling this tension here in the outer hip, I'm going to take the foot and heel toe it toward the left hand. And then I'm going to, you probably know what's coming, right? I'm going to drop it down. I will take my left toes, bring them tucked, and then try to really work the left leg to be further back toward the end of the mat. And then I pull my chest forward into this lovely posture. Hopefully it's lovely. Shoulders on the back, away from the ears. And then exhaling, coming toward the floor into this sleeping swan or pigeon pose, if that's what you call it. Really try to concentrate on keeping the hips squared. So I'm going to try and play with this a little bit with my own hips. Really exploring and seeing if I do have my hips squared. 3 deep breaths here. Inhaling to come up. Nice. Gonna exhale and tuck the toes. Heel toe my right leg out to the right side, and now both hands are on the inside of my right foot. And then I'm going to just play with my hip mobility here by rolling onto my outer foot. So I'm rolling onto the edge of my right outer foot and then bringing the toes back in. Again, just working with that in gentle movements. It's not really hurting my wrists too badly, or honestly I don't feel it because I'm really focusing today on using my finger pads and my actual fingers rather than my bottom of my wrists to help me. Okay, so when I come to a point where I can actually turn my foot out and my knee out, I'm just going to stay here for a couple breaths, pulling my shoulder blades on my back and away from my ears and reaching my left heel toward the back of the mat. 2 breaths here. All right, inhale, I'm going to bring my right foot back to center in this lunge, and then I shall press into my downward facing dog as I exhale. And I will take 3 deep breaths here to work. All right, inhaling my left leg up. I'm in a 3-legged dog. Bend the left knee, open the hip to the left, and then I come back into my down dog with the 3 legs. So one of the things I like to tell my students is to try not to collapse into your shoulders. Really press away as if you're in your down dog. Next exhalation, I begin to bring my left foot forward into lunge. And then I'll heel toe my left foot toward my right hand. All right. I bring my right knee down and I position myself for either whatever you're going to call it, sleeping swan or pigeon. So one of the things I do is tuck my right toes, try to reach my heel back a little more, and then place my knee down a little further. The 5 toes face back, they don't sickle in. And then I will come around with my hands to frame my right knee, if you will. Pull the shoulders on the back, away from the ears, and on my exhalation, drawing my chest forward and down into the sleeping swan. This side might feel different. Now before I bring my head down, I really try to reach my chest forward
and let my forehead just continue that long line from the tailbone. And again, don't want to torque the hips. We try to keep the hips level. And sometimes it's helpful to just, you know, if you have a lot of space back there, you can actually just lean on a block or a blanket. And interestingly enough, now that I'm in this pose, I didn't discover this before in our little, my body exploration earlier, but this left outer hip is really feeling super tight, so interesting. That's where we gather data. 3 deep breaths. Inhale to come up. Exhale, tuck the back foot. Bring the knee, left knee to the outside of the left mat. And then the hands move toward the center of the mat. Reach the right heel back. And now here's where we work on that hip mobility. So I'm turning onto the outside of my left foot and then bringing that foot down. Just working that mobility, feeling what's going on in that hip. I close my eyes to connect with that, these gentle movements, right? And then I'll come onto the outside of my left foot, my arch, and the rest of my foot is off the mat. I have it angled out toward the left, my knee and my foot, top of my foot, and I'll take 2 deep breaths here. Reach, reach, reach the right heel back. Inhale, I'll heel toe my foot back into this lunge position, and exhale into downward facing dog. Two more deep breaths here. Inhale, bend the knees, begin to walk the feet toward the hands. Bring your blocks in front of you if you'd like. We'll exhale, come into ragdoll once again. Maybe feeling if there's any difference, or maybe it's still tight. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, straighten the legs, press into the feet, draw the chest. Moving forward and down toward the thighs. Okay, once again, I'm going to create just gentle exploration of movement here. Moving shifting my weight all throughout my feet, kind of like in circles, and finding if there's any difference. All right, pressing strongly into the feet and lifting, 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 all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Stay here for a moment, strongly pressing the feet into the mat, pulling my navel in toward my spine, taking the shoulders away from the ears, lifting through the crown of the head. Exhale, drawing the hands down, but keeping all that length in the spine. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and come down to the floor now because I do have that low back type of soreness going on, so I'm gonna work that a little bit with a couple bridges and then some other stuff. Okay, so I'll go ahead and bring my feet toward my buttocks. Turn the toes in slightly, bring the knees toward each other, and then I round my shoulders underneath my body. So tuck them up under. All right, I bring my hands into a fist. I have the whole length of my arms and my shoulders now. Watch. So here's me just being passive, but if I'm active in pressing my hands, see how much higher the chest can get? So take a nice deep exhalation. I pull my navel toward my spine, and on my inhalation, I press strongly into the hands, the fist, the arms, the shoulders. Breathing here, my knees are toward each other, and my shins are moving toward the top of my mat. Two more deep breaths here. Then I'll exhale, release one vertebrae at a time. I allow my arms to come out to the side. I try and keep the arms just slightly lower than shoulder height, just to try and keep your shoulders moving away from yours. Dip the chin slightly. And then I'm going to go ahead and heel toe my feet toward the left side of my mat, and then drop my knees toward the right, leaving the left shoulder blade strongly pressing into surface below. Now, if my neck feels okay, I'll look toward the left side, left ear to the mat. Take an inhalation here into the whole left side of the body. On my exhalation, I'm going to press my left knee toward the front of the mat to open up my pelvis, my hip area, and feel a nice stretch here in a little bit into the psoas, but the front of the thigh feels so yummy. A couple deep breaths here with the knee moving toward the front of the mat. All right, inhale, the knees up toward the ceiling, the feet are in line with the hips and the knees. Take a nice little check-in here. I have to tell you, that felt so good. Oh my gosh, really opening the front of the hips. Too many squats in those interval trainings, right? Take a nice deep inhalation, and I have to say I love PE with Joe. His name is, his subscribing channel is The Body Coach TV. I just love it. I highly recommend it. So thank you, Joe, for coming into our life. So go ahead and heel toe the feet to the right. Drop the knees down. And you can look toward the right. Now you want the knees to move toward the surface of the mat, and we'll take a couple of inhalation and exhalations here just to feel the side body, nice opening and a twist in the spine. And now is when I'll flex my right foot, I'll move my right knee toward the top of the mat, right, the front of the mat. So I'm pressing that knee toward that space, and in doing so, I feel this lovely opening in the front of the right hip. It feels super, super yummy. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths here. Inhale and go ahead. Bring the knees up towards center. The feet now, the back is nice and flat on the mat. Knees and feet and hips are aligned with each other. And now I'll go ahead and I'm going to release my legs. But since I was having some of that low back type of soreness, I'm going to go ahead and work on, we did some back bends, but just kind of like rounding the back out and really using my abs to try and strengthen, to help support me when I do my cardio training, and then also hiking. Did a lot of hiking yesterday. So take a nice deep inhalation here, lengthening the arms out. When I exhale, I'm going to draw my shoulders up and off, pull my shin in. Take a breath here, inhaling into the entire width of my low back. When I exhale, I draw my navel in toward my spine and see if I can move my shoulders up toward my knee even more. And 2 more times like that. And then I'll exhale. Hi, Rufus, and release. Well, hello, you want to do some yoga with me, huh? You're going to make it a little difficult, mister. Come on over here. So I'll take a nice deep inhalation. Rufus, you're really going to have to move, baby boy. On my exhalation, I bring my left knee to my chest, grab the shin, pull the shoulders away from my ears. Inhale into the width of my low back. Exhale, draw the shoulders closer, the knee closer. Couple more times. Exhale, I release. Now bend both knees and then bring both knees to the chest. Take your tailbone, I love this feeling, and you just want to take your tailbone and like press it down into the mat while you're bringing your knees toward your chest, or maybe your, well, that's really embarrassing, Rufus. Towards your armpits, and then maybe make some circles with your ankles, and back and forth. So when you create these videos at home and you're not in your studio because of the pandemic, right? Anything can happen, right? So I'm sure you all appreciate that because you all have pets of your own. And so just gonna grab my big toes and rock side to side in this happy baby. Giving myself a nice little massage on the back, opening up the knees. Yay! And then when I release the knees, I'm going to just circle them, my hands out into a T, arms to a T. And then I circle around the other way. And then, guess what? I feel like I did a really decent practice for what I needed today. So, not going to skimp on Shavasana, because Shavasana is where I just can release into the earth and bring my breath as my focus right now, creating this awareness. And this is my last opportunity to do this body breath exploration. And as I'm lying here breathing, I'm just checking in. Is my chin moving toward my chest slightly? Are my shoulders really creating space for my neck? And Do I have the space in my chest to really breathe by allowing my shoulders to release into the space beneath me? Do I feel this natural curve in my spine? Do I need a little bit of, knee lift to under my knees? I'm going to say no today. I'm just going to let it ride. And then I just check in. Am I gripping? Can I allow my feet to completely relax? Am I gripping anywhere in my legs and my hips? Are my arms and hands completely relaxed? I draw tension in my face. Where I was feeling that tension when I did all those forward bends today, did I release any of that tension? If there's still tension there, I'm just going to breathe into the area around my eye sockets and my cheekbones and just lie here and relax. As I begin to awaken from my Shavasana, my consciousness, my awareness back to the space I'm in, my practice, I just organically move my body the way I feel it needs to move. And it's different from one day to the next. So whatever that means for you, how to come out of this Shavasana. Today I feel like I really need to move my neck back and forth, my face, to just kind of lengthen through my neck muscles a little bit. Just draw my knees up. Feel that low back again, connecting. Then I'm going to roll to my right side. I always like to restore my body just with this nice deep breath. And then I press into the floor, bringing myself up. And I will grab a blanket or a block, whatever's nearby. And you're actually seeing what I do truly do when I have my own home practice today. So I'm happy that you were able to come practice my practice with me. Wow, that's a really long title. I think that's what I'm actually going to name it though, right? So whatever else I feel I need as I sit in my practice here to conclude it. I just kind of feel like I need a wiggle today. Settle in. And I bring myself to this place of connection
to the earth, my sits bones drilling into the space below. I always like to gather my posture back into alignment, opening up the collarbones, lifting through the crown of the head, dipping my chin. Wow, thanks so much for practicing with me today and taking this ride with me, exploring my practice. So today was all about me, right? You're exploring your practice with me, but honestly, my intent today was to give you perhaps some tools of how you can explore your body moving into your practice and just making it your own. Thank you so much. I hope that you subscribe to Bend Yoga Center's channel. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely day. Namaste. Thanks again, peeps. We'll see you again on the Bend Yoga Center channel.